afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of MSME Masterclass. Today, we welcome Dr. Vishnu Kanhere, a distinguished chartered accountant with over 4 decades of professional expertise in management and finance, and founder of VK Kanhere and Company. Dr. Kanhere holds a PhD in management studies from the prestigious Jamnalal Bajaj Institute of Management Studies, and his career spans a wide spectrum of roles including taxation, audit management and consultancy, and information security. As a trusted advisor in the BFSI sector, Dr. Kanhere has served leading multinationals, corporates, and government entities, contributing significantly to financial planning, valuation, and quality consultancy. He is renowned internationally as a fraud examiner and data privacy expert, integrating academic rigor with hands-on industry experience. Dr. Kanhere's contributions extend beyond practice. He is a respected faculty member at management institutes, a keynote speaker at national and international conferences, and a prolific author with numerous publications. His commitment to standard development includes representing India at the International Organization for Standardization, Geneva. Recognized with prestigious awards such as the Bharatiya Shiromani Purushkar and Fellowship of the Linen Society of London, Dr. Kanhere continues to shape academia and industry as a guiding force on various academic committees and advisory boards. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Vishnu Kanhere. Welcome, sir. We're pleased to have you today with us.
Good afternoon. Thank you.
The topic for today for our audience is digital finance solutions for MSMEs in India. And our first question to you, sir, is what is the current landscape for MSMEs in India?
Well, when we look at the current landscape for MSMEs, it will not be wrong to say that MSMEs in India are a very significant contributors to our country's economy. See, they contribute over 33% of the GDP, and they really play a very crucial role in the various sectors of the economy. As you are aware, you have the agricultural sector, you have the agricultural processing and transportation sector, you have the manufacturing sector, and you have the service industry, especially where their contribution has been impressive. In fact, if you look at just the number of MSMEs which are registered now, after the initiation of the government scheme for registration, you will find that they are about 8 to 10 million in number as on date. And if you look at the statistics of job creation, especially given by the Niti Aayog and also by the MSME ministry, you will find that they create about 120 million jobs, which is about 12 crore jobs across the country. So they are really contributing a lot. And to tell you the truth, MSMEs actually enable self-empowerment, because rather than providing jobs, they provide opportunities to the have-nots or the poor or the weaker sections of society. Basically, the unorganized labor, they give them an opportunity to do something. And there are initiatives provided by the PSUs, by the government sector to help them. So now in this context, if we wish to analyze MSMEs and the landscape, there would be 4 perspectives, which to my mind would be appropriate for looking at MSMEs as such. The most prominent perspective to look at what is the state of MSMEs in India today would be the financial perspective. How well are they integrated into the finance system? How well do they have support in terms of loans, accessibility of finance, and deployment of finance? Similarly, the second perspective which you can look at is the perspective where how well they have opportunities to connect to customers and to get good supply, steady, reliable supply from the supply chain. Because really, although MSMEs have good models of working, of business, they have good products which they have developed, or they render niche services, they are not able to compete globally in the market and even in India, because they are large players and they do not have the clout of large players, and they do not have the reach, especially in the media. So therefore, this is the second perspective where we need to understand what is their present state and what can be done to improve it. The third is about their own internal working processes and systems. To give you an example, most of the multinationals, they are certified under different certification standards, like you have quality certification, you have environmental certification, and so on, which are very significant and important if you want to succeed in business. Now, small and medium enterprises do face a challenge in this area, but this is another perspective we have to see, because unless SMEs have quality, they will not be able to reach consumers and create that impact in the market. And finally, let me tell you that MSMEs cannot just be those who can just replicate products which are already there in the market. They also need to get into R&D, and therefore they need to have this thought of continual improvement in my mind. So although one feels that all these four which I have described, the four perspectives, which are actually perspectives of the balanced scorecard, they apply to large businesses, but no, they equally apply to small businesses. And therefore, MSMEs we can look at from this perspective.
Got it. Sir, also wanted to check with you on, according to you, what are the current challenges that the MSMEs are facing in India?
Well, taking the four perspective forwards, if one were to really look at it, although MSMEs play such a crucial role, although they are being continually groomed now by the central and the state government, and also there are a lot of industry and trade initiatives coming forward to help them in the market. If one really looks at it, there are a number of challenges, and these challenges affect their prospects, their profitability, and their future growth. So, if you look at it, funding, access to good, easy finance, which is, I would say, mainstream finance. Access to mainstream finance is a major challenge for MSMEs. And if you really understand how this challenge comes about, I mean, I can just give it to you in a few, like a few pointers. The first thing is that the formal credit system, if you look at it, it has a very high threshold. Now, what is this high threshold? The high threshold is in terms of loan size, the requirements of a collateral, and the insistence of a form of organization. Moment you want a slightly larger loan, they'll say, are you a partnership? You can't be just a proprietor. Are you a single person company, so a OPC, or are you registered as a private limited company? So these kind of barriers come up when you try to access bank finance or finance from institutional investors, so from institutions. So the first thing is about these formal finance. The second thing is getting competitive rates. Normally good rates are available only if for large borrowers. For small borrowers the rates are higher. And the third thing is track record. Funders, that is those who are financing, especially the banks, they ask for good promoter track record, which generally MSMEs do not have because they are fresh starting into the business. So they find a challenge to get this. And also, finally, let me also again one more thing. The challenge is credit rating. They have difficulty in getting good credit rating. The MSMEs, in fact, they don't have a credit rating because they are not there in the finance market. So this is one. The second challenge is regulatory compliance. What happens is that there are a lot of regulations. Although the government has come up with initiatives of single point windows and of reducing regulatory compliance, even today, when you want to start a business, you need first a registration of the form of entity. Even if it is a proprietorship, you need a MSME registration, some kind of a registration. If it's a partnership, you need to register with the register of firms. Then there is the registration which you need under income tax laws and under GST if you are crossing the threshold limit. Similarly, there could be local authorities and labor laws. And then again, if you're manufacturing something, then it's environmental protection, so environmental laws, pollution control boards. All these are a challenge, primarily because MSMEs have limited funds, they have limited infrastructure and limited manpower to deal with this. And again, all these compliances require good record keeping. So this is the second challenge, really. There are three more challenges. The first is keeping up with technology. What happens is MSMEs somehow feel that, they are not in a position to get into products like, so they feel we can't have SAP, we can't have these kind of things. But the first thing to understand is today digital products and software, the major game changer is that they are available according to pay per use. So if you use it only for a small length of time, or you use it only with one user, a single user, MSMEs have one or two users who would be using the product, then the licenses are very cheap. So they themselves think that, it would be too costly or it would be too difficult, and therefore they do not keep up with technology, which is another challenge. To tell you about market, which we already looked at the customer perspective, being there in the market is difficult because their ad spends are very low. In the very highly competitive environment, their pricing also is a challenge because large organizations generally price you out of the market. That is what happens to MSMEs. So, market presence and competition is another challenge. Uh, Finally, if you look at it, suppliers. So actually, you are getting boxed in from all the sides of the organization if you really look at it. So suppliers again try to force certain terms on MSMEs because the business which they provide is very small, and they are aware that the MSMEs are dependent on the suppliers. So suppliers can dictate terms to them, and so therefore that is an issue. The second issue is that communication with MSMEs becomes challenging. With large organizations, normally there is seamless connectivity, but that kind of a thing may not be there with MSMEs. MSMEs are in remote areas, so shipping goods to them also becomes difficult. Finally, and that is something internal challenge to MSMEs. What happens is these enterprises are personality driven. So there is a person who drives the organization, and unless and until they become more professionally managed, or they try to at least ingrain that outlook, what would happen is that all these would rather be dependent on individuals or on key persons, and that is something which again provides a challenge. So I think these challenges really capture what are the pain points of MSMEs today.
Sir, I actually wanted to check with you on one thing, which is to do with the given challenges that the MSMEs face in the context of the present state of MSMEs in India. Could you also share with our attendees, or rather outline the relevance and scope of digital technology and tools for the MSME sector?
Oh, that's a very good question. Actually, I already mentioned to you that if you really look at it, MSMEs feel that digital solutions are difficult, or digital technology is something difficult to adopt, primarily because they think that it would be out of the reach, or it would be too complex to fit in for such a small business. But really, to tell you the truth, SMAC, this is an acronym which I have thought of. So first is the social media platforms. So social, so S. Then the second is mobile computing. So you have mobile smartphones. So SM. Then A is analytics. So big data and analytics. And C is cloud computing. So if you look at it, all these four coming together have really enabled digital technology to be not just restricted to large multinational businesses, but it is so commonplace that it is now in our pockets, in our mobile. In fact, if you look at our mobile phone, that itself is something which provides you all these four, because mobile provides you cloud storage, it provides you analytics and big data, it gives you mobile computing, it gives you the social and the other media platform access also, all in one small device. So the point here is that computing and digital technology has become much more available and affordable to MSMEs. So now in this context, what could be done? So if we really look at it, one can say that improving digital literacy, especially among MSMEs and among proprietors or among small businesses, would enable this. And I think COVID, if you remember, we had COVID, which was actually something which was a worst thing to happen to humanity. But it was indirectly a blessing in disguise, because all of the COVID actually drove us to online connectivity. I think today, if you look at the number of entrepreneurs, right up to the lowest level, it could be a person who is a fruit or a vegetable vendor, or even somebody who is a small manufacturer. All of them connect with their customers using mobile phones. So therefore, you have an online or a digital connectivity already sustained and established. Now, given this, we still have a situation where another thing which has happened. So I'm just telling you how all these things have come together to provide a better digital connectivity. See, there's artificial intelligence and business, I would say, intelligence, which has come up and which has now been charged into these various apps which you get on mobile phones or even otherwise. And all of them have free versions which are already being used by us. Like when you're typing an email, you must have noticed that when you type an email, the email app, that whatever you're using, it could be Gmail or it could be Yahoo, it provides you with context. It kind of suggests to you as to what words should be used, and often they are very useful. So that is artificial intelligence coming in. You don't have to look at an artificial intelligence app and then say, oh, I want to implement it for my business. It's already there. So if you use 365, you use all these emails, or even you use search engines like Bing or your Google, they are already loaded with this. And ChatGPT is a very extensive one. Its basic version is very free. So it helps you do a lot of things. In fact, it probably has replaced the job of an executive assistant. So every employee now has the luxury of having an executive assistant who would help them. So you want to set up finance, online finance platform for making payments. You want to log into one. Just check with ChatGPT. It will give you all the choices. What are the tools available? So rather, if you learn to make use of it, learn to ask the right questions, it will give you the answers and it will provide you. So financial perspective, there are a lot of digital solutions available. So they not just enable you to raise finance, which we discussed, or make smooth payments to customers or collect monies from customers, rather make smooth payments to suppliers. But what they really do is they help you plan your budget. They help you in working capital management because they are intelligent tools. So they'll just give you a summary of what expenditure you are making. Similarly, for marketing also, what it does is, to give you an example, if you're on the net and if you're present on the web, so you have a website or you start advertising on Google, what actually these digital tools do is they use artificial intelligence, and then they will give your product as a choice to others who are buying other products. See, when you go under the net, you will find when you search for something, they'll tell you, whoever searched for this also searched for XYZ. So it is just helping you to make a purchase. It is also promoting a product. So that's what happens if you look at that perspective. As far as supply is concerned, again, you can use online platforms and e-commerce platforms to acquire goods, making your inputs cheaper. And so all these tools are available at a very moderate cost, and the basic versions are free of cost. So I think this is how you could implement digital solutions to overcome all those 5 or 6 challenges which I had mentioned to you.
Can you also help our attendees understand what digital solutions are available for payments or online banking and customer collection?
Okay. See, if you look at it, digital payment systems are among the most transformative tools for MSMEs. Why do I call them transformative? Because the first thing is that they help you broaden your presence. See, what is the biggest challenge of MSMEs? Today, the biggest challenge of MSME is whoever is the person with the idea, whoever is the owner of the MSME. First, understand this. What is an MSME? MSME would be driven by 1 or 2 people who will be at the core of the business. They do not have the luxury of having a large workforce at the top. So senior leadership team would probably be 1 person or at the most 2 people. Now, the biggest challenge they find is being there all the time, everywhere. So being anytime, anywhere is a challenge. And I think digital payment solutions is the first thing which provides them anytime, anywhere access. Not just in India, but even overseas. So let me give you an example. UPI. Often advertised as a success story of the government, but it is really a success story because the unified payment interface, actually it has revolutionized payments. Even at 12 o'clock in the night, I am able to transfer monies to someone who really needs it, who may be abroad. And UPIs now operate across so many countries. As you are aware, the connectivity is enabled with those countries. So you can use the UPI as a payment interface across country. Something which normally takes 2 to 3 days, monies to get transferred from overseas to India or from India abroad, now happens in a jiffy using these digital payment tools. So instantaneous transfers between bank accounts started. You also had the UPI where MSME can integrate the payment solutions with their either website or with their smartphones. So you can use that. So in short, reliance on cash has come down. Liquidity has improved. You can make just-in-time payments. See, today, if my payment of, say, license fees is due to the government, my municipal taxes are due, my telephone bills are due, my power bill is due. Now that I can pay at the very last minute. I mean, of course, you need to slate that much time, a few minutes for making the payment. But very technically or theoretically, if you say I could even pay it just at 11:30, when 12 o'clock is the end of the due date, at midnight, I can still pay that. So it conserves, because see, daily, look at it, when I'm borrowing monies or when I'm short of funds, making funds go a long way is something very important. So UPI is one thing. Another thing which is very useful for MSMEs to implement and use is QR code. I think QR code has become probably something which is very universal. And again, that's very easy, because with the QR code, you can use it at point of sale. You can use it anywhere. You can even send it on WhatsApp. So basically, accepting payments from customers has become very easy, because they just scan the QR code and make you a payment. And this has made it, UPI plus QR code has made it so easy that now you could use that to make payments of very small amounts. So even 10 rupees, 5 rupees nowadays get transferred. You must have experienced this. When you go to a shop, you don't actually hunt for change and give it. You just use, if you were to use some product names, you have Paytm, your Google Pay, your Phone Pay, your so many programs, but so many platforms available which offer you this QR code. Most banks also, for your bank account, offer you this QR code, and then that you can deploy wherever you want. Because I spoke to you about Paytm and so on, really speaking, what I told you, the names actually represent mobile wallets. So now if you have mobile wallets, you have Paytm, your Phone Pay, your MobiKwik. Basically what it does is, it also helps you set up something like cashback offers, and you can run promotional campaigns. So this is something beyond QR code. So this is how it's developing, So what my recommendation would be, start using at least the UPI, the online platforms, the QR code, and then graduate to using things like mobile wallets or establishing points of sales where you can increase your customer engagement. Wherever your product is, you can put your QR code. Now coming to, you mentioned about some digital banking platforms. So if you were to look at it, there are some private players, there are some nationalized banks also which provide these digital banking platforms. Almost all nationalized banks and all private banks do offer it. So you have State Bank, very well known. They have SBI YONO as their online thing, and then they have products like cash management program, CMP, or cash management product, which actually helps you. You just have to send them, upload a list, typed list. It can be in Excel or whatever, a list of 10 payments, and what it does is it just processes it, and a single debit comes in your bank account. So you don't. Gone are the days when you used to write checks, when you used to do various things. And here what happens is, using the online or net banking with the app, what happens is you're typing, you're selecting, you're entering, you're adding a bank account. All that, A, takes time. Apart from that, B, it's a security risk, because your phone goes to someone else. It can be hacked. The third thing is, when you're typing online, when you're doing something, the phone is also a small instrument, so you can make errors, and you can punch the wrong amount, or you could select the wrong account to transfer. Instead, if you have prepared an Excel sheet, you just load it up, it becomes so much more easier, and payments get dispersed. You also have a record of what payments you have made, because often in these online payments in a UPI and all, you don't have a record of whom you have paid. The bank statement doesn't tell you that. Similarly, mobile companies, rather service providers have also come up with this payment facility. So you have VI business. What it does is it not just offers location tracking, it offers cloud storage, it offers productivity tools, but also enhances your digital payment experience. So you have others also, like, I mean, there are many. You have Instant Pay, you have Frio, you have Capital Float, you have IndiFi. Jupiter is one. Jupiter, I think Federal Bank is offering it jointly with them. So these are all payment solutions, either in the form of UPI apps, or in the form of mobile wallets, or in the form of net banking apps. In fact, what HDFC has come up with is, now they have done it smartly. They have a separate app for investing in securities like Grow. I mean, although it's not a part of business, but it is, because spare funds need to be parked. So if you have any of these, you could probably park those funds into mutual funds or something. Of course, with proper advice. I'm not here. This is not the scope or the topic of the lecture also. But the point is that now online banking apps are not just restricted. You get an online banking app to load your, because you travel a lot. So you need the, what is it called? Just remembering the name, the FASTag. So for FASTag, you have a separate app to load your FASTag things into it. Then for making online payments, you have a separate one. For short-term parking of funds and getting a better yield, you have a securities app. So that way, all the banks are providing this, and there are also, so basically what do they do? If you want to summarize all this, then I would say they help in anytime, anywhere payments. So multiple payment interfaces are possible depending on multiple types of customers. You can have a better access to collection and payments 24/7. Even at night, you are collecting from your customers and making payment to your business partners. So better working capital management. So if you look at it, and then there are some apps like, for example, HDFC's online platform. What it does is it provides you summarization facilities. So it is something like what an ERP software will do, what a SAP will do. It provides summary of it provides comparisons with earlier years. It can give you a breakup of collection according to your customers also. So it really helps you. It's a beginning of providing MSMEs with an understanding of their business at the flick of their mobile phones. So I think that is how digital platforms would probably help in your finance solutions. So this is what they do.
So can you also help our attendees understand what are the financing options for MSMEs, and what about digital lending and digital finance platforms?
Yeah, that's a good question, because what we dealt with was primarily online digital banking and payment solutions and collection of money. See, the point here is that no doubt what I spoke about really helps your money go a long way. But in order to make money go a long way, initially you need funds. And MSMEs and small scale, very small, micro, especially service providers and manufacturers, they are not in a position to raise funds. So if you look at it, what are they looking at today? They probably raise from private sources, from friends and relations and others. And so they end up having a cost of funds, raising funds, or a cost of capital, which is as high as something like even 18% or 24% or even more per annum, which is a very huge cost. And that really is a heavy financial burden. So what these digital lending solutions, platforms, I would say, or financing options now provide is, they provide two things. If you have something like, with Bank of India, I think they have corroborated, you have lend cart, you have quite a few of them. What they really do is, the first thing these lending platforms do is they provide a easy onboarding. You have Indifi also, so they provide a easy onboarding and provide quick access to loans. So there is a reduction in documentation. In fact, if you look at it, you can online itself, the necessary documents needed can be used to register your entity on the financing platform, and also to complete the first steps, including your credit assessment. Now, once that is done, you normally, what happens is, you get a very good idea of how much you will be able to raise. So really speaking, what it is helping you to do is, I'll just in a moment try and give you the steps. I have them here noted down, what kind of steps one can look at in order to get it on the online platform. I'm just opening it up here. So the first thing which it does is, if you look at it, it goes on with the registration part of it. And then apart from registration, it will complete your documentation. Then it will connect you with the possible lenders. So those who are interested in lending, so you have peer-to-peer lending here. So they connect you with that. Crowdfunding is another option which is available. So you get a platform where you directly connect with potential lenders. So just like in an e-commerce marketplace, what happens is, you put out your product there, like you put out your product on Amazon. What really happens is that buyers are surfing that portal and they really get an idea of, okay, let me try this product, and therefore they get into details of it, they connect with you. Similarly, here what is being showcased here, it is like a online lending exchange which has been put out. So what really happens is, once you are registered and out there and your financial requirements and what is your project is known, potential lenders who want to lend can look at it. They get verification because that platform has verified you. So they know that you are a verified entity. Then your track record also gets built up if a few transactions happen, and then your credit score based on your activity gets built up. So it is not really on the basis of how much funding you have. So this is something which is very good, and lot of cumbersome procedure is avoided in this. So quick and easy access to funds. So you have Lendbox and FairSend, which is a peer-to-peer network, that is P2P lending platform. So it connects MSMEs with investors. So allows business to secure loans. They are kind of there to ensure that transactions happen properly. Now you have Bharat Lend also, correct? You have Bharat Lend. And then of course, the government has the Mudra loans. PMYGK, that is the Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana. It's called PMMY, and it gives access to microfinancing. And these are also quick. I mean, you can get them quite quickly, but you should know how to get around and register. So these are there. So what MSME should do actually is, even if you don't want to borrow or you're reticent just now, register on these platforms, submit the basic financial information, and select the loan offers which are there on the basis of the need which you have. You can upload. I mean, the advantage with these lending platforms is that they will use non-traditional documents. Like they say, okay, upload your transaction history or upload your GST returns or what business activities you are doing. That helps them do the credit assessment. But for all this, I think when you want to kind of borrow monies, please remember 2-3 things. First is Udyam. I think every MSME which really wants to tap the formal funding or these online digital platforms should, as a bare minimum, after hearing this, get registered on the MSME portal. It's very easy online. It takes about 10 to 15 minutes for you to do. If you are unable, get in touch with some agency. There are a lot of private agencies also which help. But really speaking, you should try and do it yourself, because that makes you more savvy. That makes you understand what is really required. And if you are a tax filer, that's wonderful, because as far as your business information is concerned, of turnover, of what is the value of the assets and all that, it gets directly picked up from the your tax return moment you give your PAN number. So and it's based on the individual, so you don't have to register your business. Suppose I have 3 businesses, I register myself and I just give my names of all the 3 businesses, I'll get 3 separate Udyam registrations. So that's the advantage. You also have a credit guarantee fund trust, which has been floated by the government. So you have CGSTME. You have some entities which do digital credit scoring also. And finally, what I had already said, there are mobile banking applications which are used for lending. But please remember, there are some private lenders also out there who provide those apps. And there is one big no which I want to share with you. What people try to do, they borrow on one platform, then when the due date is there, they borrow on another lending app and try to pay this, and then they really don't know what they are doing, and there is no control on their borrowing, and they end up in a very big financial mess. So although these online things are very easy to register and obtain, please desist from registering on multiple finance lending platforms, because that may put you out in the sense that it will be difficult for you to keep track of what you're borrowing and what you're repaying. So I think, but yes, everyone should do Udyam registration and register yourself on lending platform, whether you immediately want loan or not, because build a history, build a track record, right?
Digital tools for reliable invoicing, billing, or record keeping and compliance with tax laws and stuff?
Okay. See, earlier, the accounting has always been, to tell you the truth, record keeping has always been a challenge, because what happens is accounting and financial management is something which MSMEs especially feel that, oh, it's something not really affordable, and they normally what they do is they engage a part-time accountant who comes maybe once or twice a week and enters all the banking transactions and prepares the accounts and so on. But what really is happening when they do this is that they are not using the accounts for decision making, for day-to-day cash management, for working capital management, and for managing their businesses. Because for that, they are using some other data, maybe probably something which they write down in their small notebooks which they have, where they keep track of their sales and their purchases and the due dates and the payments and the collections which they have to make. Then why are you duplicating it by keeping the record? So the record only becomes a post-mortem for the purpose of, I would say, filing tax returns or compliance with GST or for some such other records. Now, instead of doing that, you're smart enough and you can train your own people or probably do it. See, nowadays you have Tally, your Zoho, your QuickBooks. All these are again also pay as per you use, and for a single user the cost is not much, and they are all now enabled. You can access them from anytime, anywhere. You need not access them only from the office. You can access them or from your shop. You can access them wherever you are, even from home or even when you are traveling. And the advantage is that nowadays these solutions actually help you. You just have your bank statement. You can download it. In fact, if you feed them with nowadays they are so smart that if you provide them, of course, you need to have the security measures. If you provide your login credentials, they can directly take your bank statements and enter them, and your accounts are ready. You have to do a little bit setting up, and you have to give it instructions the first time. But once it knows that, okay, this payment is actually for electricity expenses, it recognizes, and wherever such a payment comes again, it will take it directly to electricity expenses. It will take it directly to purchases. It knows that this person is a customer, so it will automatically account for it as realization from sales or customers. So basically, all these. You have even smaller software service providers like your Suvit. There are many of these who provide these tools. And then if you look at Tax Spanner or Clear Tax, they provide GST compliance tools. Now, basically, how can you use them? So all of them have cloud-based software to track daily transactions and generate real-time financial insights. So you opt for the cloud-based solution. Don't install them on your systems. Or you can use integrated tools like Zoho. They are Zoho Books or Tally. They are very easy to implement, and you have actually agencies through which if you buy them, they'll implement, and the cost is very little for training you or your staff, whomsoever they want. They charge like what, 500 rupees maybe or 1,000 rupees for a training session, and making them, so you would be kind of entering real time and ensuring smooth reconciliation of transactions. Similarly, if you want to do invoicing, you have actually Razorpay, which also helps you invoicing as well as collecting. You have Razorpay or you have Invoice Ninja. So all these, they help you create, send, manage invoices, and also ensure accurate billing and collection. So the collection gets linked if you use Razorpay, because Razorpay also helps you in collection. It's a customer collect app. So the money can come in through that. You also have platforms like BillDesk and all. So if you use that, BillDesk especially, it can manage your payables and it can give you a classified analysis of your cash flow and your payables. In fact, it pulls the bills for you. Look at things in platforms like BillDesk. It's going to tell you in advance that, okay, now you have these bills due and they are going to come up. So essentially, even the government has now provided invoicing, but that is for very large enterprises. They have insisted that it's made online, but there are a lot of service providers who help you do that. So by registering on these platforms, basically you can do it, and it's easy for funding also, because the moment you use these online platforms, then you could probably get lending or finance against your unpaid invoices. So, whatever you have invoiced and money is still not coming, something like bill discounting, one would say. Not exactly bill discounting, because here you are not going through the process of bill discounting, but you get some funding against your possible this thing. Now, if you look at tax compliance, what comes to my mind is, yes, you have clear tax, you have other tax filing solutions which are there. So all of these generally are quite easy to implement, and what they do is you have to just, in fact, now with the facilities provided by the government, you can in fact download your data, pre-filled data, it is called, income tax, using that software, and the pre-filled data will actually tell you a draft computation. It will say, look, this is your income as per the tax records, and then you can adjust it and actually end up paying it. Now, in fact, if you have more than 10 crores, then turnover, then e-invoicing has become mandatory. So the government itself has provided free tools. So what should be done is you should start at least with some accounting software which is enabled, and they now are also enabled for filing GST returns. So you should slowly graduate to have an online cloud-based accounting software. They provide good training, and your bank accounting will also get automated. Your purchases, whatever payments you make, would also get automated. I think that is the way to go forward. So accounting will not be an additional burden, a post-mortem exercise. It would be a live thing. I think that should answer your question.
With that, we've come to the end of today's masterclass episode. Thank you so much, Dr. Kanhere, for sharing invaluable insights on digital solutions, tools, and tactics. Your information, your insights, your references, examples, everything will for sure help our attendees gain a lot of knowledge on this topic. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity, and I'm really happy to share this. And what I feel is at least a few things, like register yourself on a lending portal, get your Udyam registration, like these few things, if people do, then I'll be satisfied with what I've shared. Right.
Definitely.
Thank you.
For our attendees who are online, if you've missed any part of today's episode, or if you'd like to see the current episode or any of the previously shot episodes, please go on YouTube, type GSW1 MSME, and you'll find all the episodes uploaded there. Thank you once again, sir. Bye-bye.
Thank you.